Hi, everyone. In this episode, we are going to talk about how to win the Amazon buy box for Amazon FBA sellers. And with me today is two experts in this field, Daniel and Monica.
Hey, Rick. Thanks for having us.
Hey, guys. Yeah, thanks for coming to the show. Yeah. And Monica, I want to introduce first. She's a former Amazon employee, 6 years experience in e-commerce. Monica is always in touch with the latest trends in e-commerce and Amazon and the Amazon space. Her job now is as an international partner manager and sales consultant with SellerLogic, and her work regularly requires her to keep in touch on a daily basis with e-commerce experts of all kinds. And then we have Daniel. Daniel, after finishing his legal studies, started out as a copywriter in the field of competition law. The experience drew him closer to the marketing realm and shift his career into a more creative direction. As my brother would say, a recovering lawyer.
sounds about right. Sounds about right.
And as a content manager, with SellerLogic, Daniel has been researching and writing articles revolving around the topic of selling on Amazon for the past year, specializing in pricing strategies and solution-based processes. He is constantly providing Amazon sellers with A+ content that helps them save time and money. So again, welcome guys. Thanks for coming. So today we are talking about the Amazon buy box. So I think the Amazon buy box is a very Amazon seller or Amazon retailer specific term. So for the viewers that are not quite familiar with it, for example, let's just say there's Amazon shoppers, right? In layman terms, what is the Amazon buy box?
Well, I can answer that question. The Amazon buy box, I mean, if we move into the customer sides, the buy box, it's that page, that section when you're buying on Amazon that suggests you the best products based on their price, I would say. I don't know if you have anything else to add on that, Daniel, but that's basically.
Yeah. Exactly. I think what we always like to say in marketing, it's the little, the little orange golden button labeled add to cart or add to basket, depending where you're shopping from. And yeah, exactly. Once you're looking at a product and you click on the buy box on that add to cart button, what Amazon then does is suggest to you the best sellers of that product. That's
exactly.
basic. I think that's that's all I would add.
Let's take a look at that in like the actual website. I think like maybe the viewers can get a better idea. Yeah, so if you go to like Amazon.com and you search for certain products, say like dog mat. And now you click on one of like the results, and a lot of people don't know is that it's not only Amazon that is selling the product, it's also third-party sellers as well. So as you can see in this hand side right here, you can see what we call the buy box. And right now there's only one seller selling the product, right? But the buy box allows for multiple sellers to sell under for this product, right? So basically that is what the buy box is in like the Amazon selling world. Okay, so you see the buy box. So to the sellers, why is this so important?
Well, from a sales perspective, we always say that 95% of the sales are going through this buy box. Once again, these are the first products that are in the search of a customer. These are the first search results that they're going to get. So the possibilities of making a sale is much higher if you are in the buy box. Also, it gives a large visibility for products as well. As a seller, your brand gets more recognition if you are in the buy box.
Also, if I'm like, if we go back to the perspective of the customer, and it's also relevant for the seller, of course, maybe if you've noticed once you have the seller in the buy box and you directly see who that seller is, but if you then look for someone who sells a similar product, but is not in the buy box, I don't know if this is was done intentionally by Amazon or if it's just how it is. But it's super hard to find other people selling the same product that are not in the buy box. At least that's the feeling I get from when, you know, as a customer.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys see it the same. Yeah, and as I said, I don't know if it's intentional, but fact is, if you're a seller and you're not in the buy box, you're going to have a hard time making more revenue. That's just a fact.
Yeah, and to Monica's point, it seems like what you're saying that, you know, if you're actually on the top of the buy box, you actually made the sale for that item 95% of the time. Would that be a fair assessment based on what you just said?
Exactly. I think when if you look at different, I would say repricing companies or different sources of information, I think sellers, they're going to have a doubt on this, because I know some sources, they're going to say 70%, 80%, 95%. I think, I mean, from our experience, I can say it's 95%. Then, as you mentioned, I'm an ex-Amazon employee, and we used to work, I mean, I work for A-Books, which is a company that belongs still to Amazon, and it specializes in selling books. This is how Amazon actually started, with books. And for example, in that sector, which is one of the highest branches of Amazon, the selling of books, if you're selling new books, the price, you cannot really have room for changing the price, because you need to follow the regulations of the editor of that book. So then if you're reselling all books, used books, you do have room for changing, not that much, because the margins in that, once again, in that sector, they're pretty low. So already, if we're taking all of those products, which are books, magazine, comics, etc., out of the Amazon catalog, let's put it that way, leaves the rest for the rest of them, and that makes that percentage go higher. So it is really 95% of the sales go through the buy box.
Yeah, that's really important. Like as a shopper, right? I rarely would actually go into the buy box and pick out the seller. So yeah, I think it would hold true based on my personal experience on that. I rarely actually go in there, actually like pick out the seller. So yeah. And
exactly, we go back to the customer experience once again. When you're buying on Amazon, we have this expectation that, oh, I'm gonna find my product, the product that I cannot find anywhere, I'm gonna find it there, I'm gonna find it right away, and it's gonna be shipped to me very fast. So you really, I mean, at least from my experience or my friend's experience, you know, it's just in 3 clicks, you're already buying your product. So really, the buy box is pushing your product constantly and highly to your customers.
Yeah, it makes it less friction in terms of the checkout. Correct.
Yeah, we need to think that Amazon is always thinking about the customer experience. So it's a way of making a smooth experience of shopping on the marketplace.
Okay. So in terms of a buy box as a seller, right? Number one, how do you be eligible for a buy box? Is all seller eligible for a buy box?
I would say you need to be an experienced seller. A seller who just joined the marketplace and just started his adventure of selling in the marketplace, it's not impossible, but it's gonna be harder. Just because your products, you know, you're just launching a new product. It's still, it doesn't have many reviews or search by the customers. So what I would suggest to every seller is always to check on their inventory management. They can check by SKU, see the eligibility of the products. Sometimes if you're a beginner, that might help. Depending on the product, there might be some products that position easier than others. But yeah, experience, because there are other metrics that we can talk about it later, more to dive deep into those metrics that help the seller to position himself into the buy box. So if you have more years of experience selling on Amazon, or if a product has been selling on Amazon for a while now, that makes it, that's what makes you eligible as a seller to win the buy box.
So going deeper into that answer, so what are the specific metrics that can give you the edge over the other sellers on a buy box? Are there like any specific metrics that you actually see on the SellerLogic side that like certain factors or weighted factors that is very important for the seller to actually win the buy box?
Sure. I mean, if, for example, if we're talking about the scenario where there's a seller that has many competitors and he sees that he's losing the buy box to a specific competitor or his competition in general, that could be due to three things. That seller might not have a fast shipping method, meaning that he doesn't have the Prime badge or he's not using the FBA. For those who are not familiar with FBA, it's fulfillment by Amazon. That's when Amazon is going to ship the orders on behalf of the seller. Maybe you're running out of stock against your competitor, that is specific competitor. You guys are selling the same product, but he has more stock than you are. And there is a domino effect. When that happens, your seller rating goes down, and that makes you lose the buy box. And also the most frequent, I would say, scenario, it's also when you have an aggressive competitor that is lowering too much the prices. You cannot keep up to that price changing, and that makes you lose the buy box. If you want to dive into the metrics, Daniel, to give more information
I can name a few,
about
sure.
the requirements.
To expand on that question, so of course there's certain metrics. I think we have we also have a great ebook on that topic and a couple of blog articles, but I think in total there are 12 metrics. I don't know if I know them all off by heart, but I know for sure that, as Monica already mentioned, shipping
I think
method,
what we can do
time,
is that for like the whole 12 metrics, or like a dive deeper into this topic, we could just link that article below in the description.
That's great.
So if there's any like metrics that, let's just say there's like 3 metrics that you want to concentrate on as Amazon
3
sellers.
areas,
3 areas, because it's really hard to like maybe concentrate on all 12 metrics. But
let's
just narrow down to like just 3. What would they be?
I would say my top 3 would be definitely number 1, final price. Competitive pricing will most likely win you the buy box. Then, of course, apart from that, I would say customer service and order defect rate. Those would be my top 3. I don't know, but that's just personal. Personal opinion. I don't know if you.
Monica, do you agree with that?
Yeah, totally. The price, it's playing an important role. Shipping method, customer service. It's really important.
That's also why FBA sellers always have an edge. I kind of have a feeling, because if you leverage FBA, you directly have customer service, returns, and shipping by Amazon. And it's basically that pushes your seller rating up directly. Of course, as Monica already said, being as customer centric as Amazon is, if you fulfill better than Amazon, then you will probably win against someone with an FBA who leverages FBA. But let's be honest,
it's really difficult. It's really difficult. They work at
you better sleep at the post office to ship your orders.
Better not sleep. Agreed. It's so tough because I mean, once you get to a certain scale, you just have to like push all those orders in. So like having that FBA is definitely like a major advantage. I think when I was so I started as like an Amazon third-party seller, white label. Cool. So I think one of the best decisions I made was to use Amazon FBA, because when I first started, I was thinking, should I save by like fulfilling myself, keeping the inventory in my garage, safe on storage? But very quickly, once you get to like that 20 order a day type of threshold, you're like, I made the right decision, right? Or else I'll be spending the entire day just like writing labels, licking the stamps and shipping.
So would you say your threshold would be 20 orders a day? That's when you would say, okay, that's the point where you said, okay, this is where I'm going to use FBA. For people who start selling, for example, because we're always asking these kind of questions, from when on would it make sense for you to use FBA? You said for you it was 20 orders a day.
Well, it depends. Depends what biz model, right? So I mean, I feel like a lot of resellers, as in like retail arbitrage, where like their main job is to go out physically and buy the goods and ship it, then maybe your threshold is a little higher, because I'm doing like private label. I actually have to do a lot of ad hoc marketing work. I need to spend my time during the day doing that. So it's like basically I have to do a lot of like sourcing, marketing, Amazon PPC, just everything, right? Inventory management. So I think for if you're in the route of going to do a private label, I feel like you should do like basically FBA right away, right? Because you could very quickly scale up to 20 sales in any given day, right? And having that Amazon FBA infrastructure is really allow you to like really like scale out, right? You won't be able to do that if you like do it yourself. So if you're like a private label seller, like you should definitely start FBA right away. If you're a retail arbitrage, maybe you can, wait until you get like 10 orders, scale up the number of, because the thing is, I feel like retail arbitrage is all about like quantity of products, right? So sometimes like the products can be really bulky and very expensive to store. So if you actually have like a garage freed up, it sometimes would make sense to actually ship it yourself. So you mentioned repricing, right? It seems like repricing is a very huge factor in terms of trying to winning the buy box, right? Like when I tell you to list like top 3 factors of winning a buy box, you list pricing as like the first. So, and I know that SellerLogic, that's their core functionality. Would you say your current user main purpose of using SellerLogic would be objective is to win the buy box? And my second question is, with SellerLogic, is the core functionality is mainly repricing? Can you expand more on that?
Yeah, so basically I would say that our users, the main reason why they use SellerLogic is of course to win the buy box, because at the end of the day, what do they want to do? They want to make more revenue. They want to sell more stuff. So of course, they want to win the buy box, and that's exactly what the repricer does. At the end of the day, though, there's a nice side effect that SellerLogic has, of course. Is like with every tool, a good tool means half the work. I think that's a Hungarian saying or something like that. They save a lot of time. There's a lot of time freed up for, doing other stuff. I mean, being a seller is stressful. You just said it. You don't have time to sleep. So if you have something like your pricing strategy under control, you have that fully automated. That already takes off some time off your schedule that you can use into, I don't know, working on your listing, taking a nap that is well deserved or whatever. That's exactly. So that's the main functionality. And of course, well, the repricer is just one of our solutions. We also have another solution, the lost and found. Maybe Monica wants to expand on that.
Lost and found it's really focused on FBA from Amazon. It's for those FBA sellers who have an impression that they're losing money because their products are missing.
Monica, it's not an impression. It's true. It's not an impression.
They don't want to push to the sales side. They don't want to sound too much sales. But yeah, that's the solution that we have. Once again, to help the sellers to save time, it's to automate the whole process of analyzing those FBA reports and try to identify those errors that might have gone unnoticed for a while. And yeah, we automate the process. We collect all the information that allows them to present a justified case to Amazon and get their money as fast as possible. And we usually identify there's errors such as damaged items, returns from clients. Sometimes the client returned it, but it disappeared in the warehouses. We never know. Also FBA fees. And yeah, I'm missing just simply something like I shipped my goods to Amazon. They were there. All of a sudden, they have disappeared. They're missing. Maybe they misplaced it somehow because, I mean, as much as Amazon, is a strong company and has a lot of automated processes inside their warehouses, there's always a human factor behind it. And those employees, they're under a pressure of time and a big volume. There's, a huge volume of products going in and out and arranging them. So of course, mistakes are human, and that's something that we need to keep an eye on.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but at the same time, No, go ahead. At the same time, I noticed that the mistake is normally against the seller as well. Okay, maybe I'm biased. I'm a seller.
That's exactly what I wanted to say. It's totally correct. Mistakes can happen. Of course, human error is human, but The thing is, like, if those mistakes happen, it's not to be taken out on the backs of the sellers. And that's kind of what I feel what is happening, because if you want to get reimbursed, you have to fill out forms that are like 12 pages long. Nobody has time for that. And that's for every item. And that's exactly where where SellerLogic saw the niche and saw the idea, like, hey, this can't be true. There has to be some way to make that process faster. And that's how we came up with Lost and Found. So basically,
Yeah, or try to
reimbursement claims.
communicate. Or try to communicate with Amazon. That's where
that's
when
a lot of fun.
So
yeah, they definitely make you know, let's just say you caught them, like, you know, yeah, you made a mistake. Yeah, it's definitely one thing to catch it, the second thing to like let them know and acknowledge it and reimburse you. So yeah, I think like a SellerLogic, yeah, I mean, this is a great function to have if you're like an Amazon seller that uses FBA, and you know, get to a point where, yeah, you're starting to catch Amazon through their mistakes, really like scale out, help you like really automate that process for you. So before we finish up, so we're approaching Christmas. Is there any particular tips that you can give any sellers for in terms of winning the buy box during the holidays?
It's a tough question. I'm just wondering, I'm just trying to think whether the thing is, like, we don't really have a lot of changes in regard to how many people are downloading or who are making use of our solution, because it's pretty stable at the moment. Normally, when you have fluctuation, if we would have that fluctuation, if I could base this on data, I would say, okay, now before days like Black Friday or Prime Day or Christmas, definitely get a repricer, or if there would be like a sharp spike in free trials, you know, something like that. Well, I would say, okay, maybe people try out the tool. But what I see, or what we communicated in the last webinar, is that people are they're focusing on other things right now. For example, inventory is going nuts at the moment. They're trying to focus on that and not trying out new tools before Christmas. So I think what I would say and give as a tip to sellers is, especially during the holidays, keep your inventory full. I mean, that's of course your inventory should always, you should never run out of stock, but especially in the holidays where people buy a lot of stuff.
Especially to keep the buy box.
Yes,
to have a good inventory.
That's the second point, I think. Like, make sure you have inventory. Yes.
And yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think the people win Q1 who don't run out of stock in Q4. That's what I would say. So yeah, that's a tip I would give.
Yeah, last man standing. Yeah. Okay, I think we'll end it off with that. Thanks a lot, Monica and Daniel.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, and have a great holiday.
You too.
You as well.
Happy holidays. Enjoy.
Happy holidays. Ciao, ciao.